Morphology is the study of words. However, linguists have a problem defining exactly what a word is because each language expresses words and sentences in slightly different ways. For example, the Kavunjo people, who speak a dialect of Bantu, have long words that would be a complete sentence in English. For example, this word, nakimlia, translates to, he is eating it for her. Morphology looks at morphemes, which are the smallest meaningful parts of a word. It has nothing to do with sounds or sizes, but with the concepts behind the parts. For example, the word raps is one syllable, but two morphemes. The first morpheme, rap, describes the action, and the second morpheme, s, shows the tense. There are several types of morphemes, but the two we deal with most are free and bound. Free morphemes are morphemes that can stand alone, like tree. Bound morphemes must be attached to other morphemes because they cannot be written as separate words. For example, in the word trees, s is a bound morpheme. S carries the meaning of plural, but alone has no significance. There are several types of bound morphemes. In English, they can be either prefixes or suffixes. However, some languages have infixes which get put in the middle of words. Inflectional morphemes add suffixes to the ends of words without changing the part of speech or the meaning of the word you're adding it to. For example, when you add an S to make tree into trees, you haven't changed the basic meaning, but now you are talking about multiple trees instead of only one. There are 8 types of inflectional morphemes. Adding S or ES to make something plural, adding apostrophe S for possessive, showing verb tense by adding S, ED, EN, or ING, or adding ER or EST to show comparison. Then you have derivational affixes, which means adding either prefixes or suffixes that do change the meaning of the word. Remember when we talked about the word wrap earlier? Well, if you add the prefix UN to the front of wrap, you now have unwrap, which is a completely different action than wrap. Some derivational affixes even change the part of speech. If you take the verb work and add the suffix er to the end, you now have the word worker, which is a noun. So not only have you changed the part of speech, but you have changed the concept the reader associates in their mind. You can use morphemes to make several types of words. Simple words are made of one free morpheme, like cup. Complex words are one free morpheme and one bound morpheme, like cups. Compound words are 2 or more free morphemes together, like teacup. Multiple types of morphemes can be strung together to make really long words like anti-disestablishmentarianism. How many morphemes does this word have? One way linguists classify languages is by how they combine morphemes. In analytic languages, such as Chinese, each word equals one morpheme. They do not combine morphemes to make new words. Synthetic languages are languages that add several bound morphemes onto free morphemes or base words. Languages like Latin, Spanish, French, and Portuguese are synthetic languages because they add inflectional morphemes onto various words. A polysynthetic language adds multiple inflectionals to the words, like the earlier example, nakimilia. Thus, the Kavunjo language is categorized as polysynthetic. Agglutinative languages combine many morphemes into one word without changing the spelling of any of the morphemes. Turkish is an example of an agglutinative language. Analytic words rely on word order to show meaning, so sentences in these languages need to follow very specific orders. For example, the English sentence, "The man chased the dog," relies on word order. If you said, "The dog chased the man," the sentence means a totally different thing. All the other types of languages, on the other hand, have more meaning built into each word, so the sentence order can change more and still be clear to the readers. Traditionally, linguists classify words into parts of speech. Although it is close to impossible to discuss the classification of words without terms like noun and verb, linguists today have tried to come up with new words to explain parts of speech by relying on meanings of the words. This knowledge of the meaning of a word is what we use when we define a noun as a person, place, or thing, and a verb as showing action. Because nouns and verbs are in every language, they are called universal grammar. The placement of words in a sentence, also known as syntax, can similarly tell us what they are. For example, words that precede nouns are usually adjectives. Likewise, morphological evidence, such as inflectional and derivational suffixes, can also give us clues to classify a word. When we make a word plural by adding s to it, we know it is a noun. We know that adding ly to the end of a word will make it an adverb. However, some words can be used as a noun, verb, and adjective. Consider the three following uses of the word table. That is a table. He tabled the motion. He has poor table manners. In order to avoid confusing situations like these, we need to use all three approaches: semantics, syntax, and morphology to classify a word. We also classify words as either content words or function words. Content words are the main words in a sentence that carry meaning. They are also called open class words because these are the type of words that are borrowed from other languages. Function words help the sentence make more sense, such as prepositions, conjunctions, linking verbs, and words in a sentence that show quantity. They all serve to help clarify the meaning of the more important words in a sentence. Functional words are also called closed class words, because no matter how useful it would be to adopt a functional word from another language, we never do. For example, people sometimes complain that there's no gender-neutral third personal singular pronoun. Other languages do have them, such as Hebrew, but people would never adopt that word because it would take too much adjustment to the entire language. Words enter languages all the time, especially English. English has one of the largest vocabularies of any language, with different ways that words can enter. Coining refers to the invention of a new term to describe something. The book Frindle by Andrew Clements is a good example of coining. A student coins the term frindle to mean a pen simply by getting all the people he knows to use the term. However, this is an unusual way to coin a term. Most people coin a word by inventing something new, like an iPod. Another way to make new words is compounding words, or putting two words together to mean something new. For example, the word high chair specifically means the tall, safe seat you put a baby in, not just something you sit in that is tall. Another way to make words is to make long phrases shorter through clipping. This is usually done by using the front of a word for clipping, such as getting math for mathematics. We can also use acronyms to shorten words by taking the first letter of each word from a phrase. For example, scuba comes from self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. People also make new words by blending existing words, such as getting brunch out of breakfast and lunch. Then there's an interesting way of making words called back formation. This is where you make a verb from a noun. For example, Xerox is a noun for a special office machine. But people now say they need to Xerox something, as in use the machine to make copies. Lastly, we also add words to our language by borrowing them from other languages. English does this a lot. For example, the word fiancé is a French word. The people who speak English heard it and thought it was useful, so now it counts as an English word as well. When it comes to oral language, decisions about what constitutes a word are extremely complicated. Thus, through the use of morphology, linguists can carefully categorize words and dialects to better understand the complex schema of language.